title is exactly what it says on the tin. I rant about opinions that have some popularity or I see constantly time and time again, whilst trying to remain somewhat civil. This content is a lazy form of content, meaning these videos have little to no research put in the topics that they cover, thus they should not be used for any objective reason. These videos are nothing more of an opinion, and therefore I do not hate the people with those opinions, but the opinion itself. Do not harass others for having different opinions. You can debate in the comments, but please try to keep it civil. You got that? Now let's get into the video.
Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of ranting about opinions I see floating on the internet. Now, this video is probably a video I have probably wanted to make since I was a child. I look at this topic and sometimes I think, damn, why haven't I talked about this before? This is probably the first time I'm speaking about it, ever, and for some reason I'm speaking it to the void in hopes that a singular human being will pick it up. You're most likely looking at the title of this video and you're probably thinking to yourself, wait, I thought this was about ranting about opinions I see floating on the internet, not ranting about opinions I see in real life. And yes, whilst that's true, it is also a phrase that's also used on the internet quite a lot, and mostly my grievances with this statement stem from the internet. I feel like a lot of pain for people just stems from the internet as well. Maybe just go outside. Now, what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about the phrase, respect has to be earned, not given, or you have to earn respect to get respect. They're very similar phrases that have been used. Don't get me wrong, the phrase itself isn't necessarily harmful, and I think it's a completely understandable phrase to say when you think about it a little. However, I get the feeling people either misunderstand the phrase or completely misuse it and misapply it to situations in which it shouldn't be applied to. Hopefully, if editing me is smart, there should be a picture on your screen right now showcasing the Google definition of respect, or maybe the Cambridge definition of respect. Here's the problem I have with this phrase. Respect in itself has two different meanings. It actually has three, but let's be real, we're not talking about that third one, and that third one is completely kind of not important, and it wouldn't make any sense. Or maybe it would. A smart person would research the phrase respect has to be earned to get why that phrase was being used, but this is a rant, not a history channel. The Cambridge Dictionary actually gives three meanings for respect. The first definition Cambridge gives is admiration, so the admiration you feel / show to someone or a thing that you think has good qualities or ideas. For example, I respect JID because he's a talented rapper and he's made some very good songs. The second definition Cambridge Dictionary gives is politeness, honor, and care. And this is essentially the feeling that something is right / important and it shouldn't be changed or harmed. So an example would be respect for someone's wishes to allow them to grieve. On a smaller note, the third definition is about a particular feature or detail, sort of like a replacement for the word aspect if you were talking about a video game. So you'd say, in most respects, Halo is better than COD. There's also the verb versions of respect, and realistically, let's be honest, those carry the same definitions, and I'm pretty sure I used the verb for respect rather than a noun in one of my examples. I'm personally convinced that the internet and humans throughout history have mostly bastardized this phrase to the extreme, because I'm pretty sure the phrase respect has to be earned mainly refers to the first definition I gave to you guys. It makes sense that it mainly applies to admiration, because admiration isn't something you just do for anyone. You admire people's qualities, and people have to show you their qualities before you admire them in the first place, which is why it makes sense that it applies to the first one and not the second one. But for some reason, I've seen a lot of people use this phrase as an excuse to treat people with contempt, which to me suggests that they're applying it to the second definition. Because sometimes a person will say they've been treated badly by someone, explaining their experiences, and they'll say they demand respect from the person that they're being treated badly by. And for some reason, someone will then respond dismissively, saying to get respect, you've got to earn respect. I'm sorry, mate, but if people are treating someone terribly, they are outright just terrible people. I should not have to earn the ability to be treated with decent human kindness. That's just not something that should be earned, that should be something that should be given. Human beings should be treating each other with basic kindness if they haven't done anything to deserve it. Is it really too much to ask to not be treated with hostility? They're not asking for the red carpet, they just don't want to be treated badly. A pretty good example I've seen of people using this phrase incorrectly was, I remember back in the days of anti-SJW content or Gamergate days or whatever those days were. I would remember because I used to be interested in the drama and used to watch those types of videos. I remember the days of people were debunking BuzzFeed content, or just the days of SJW content or anti-SJW content. Whenever the SJW, the anti-SJW YouTuber would detail their experience and demand respect, I would see a comment suggesting respect had to be earned And that always rubbed me the wrong way, because I never got the idea they were asking to be admired. They were asking me to be treated with kindness, essentially. And I used to see a lot of these comments a lot of the time in like YouTube comments. To be fair honest, this experience for me was really blurry, considering I was like 14 and 16 at the time of just reading a bunch of YouTube comments. Never read YouTube comments. On the note of being very dismissive, I've also seen this really weird internet behavior to behave dismissively as if it's cool to not care about other people, and I've always found it to be eyebrow-raising behavior, especially as someone whose emotions tend to become numb. Now don't get me wrong, I used to behave like that, especially in the internet. I was like, oh yeah, I don't care about other people, I just care about myself. But to be honest, I feel like human beings should care about each other because it's how we were able to survive in the wild, and it's how we were able to continue to grow as human beings. It's why mankind is able to progress so well. And it's weird how we've like completely ruined this phrase. Whenever someone just asks for decent human kindness, they have to earn the kindness of other people or just to be treated decently by other people. I don't get it. So when people use this phrase, it makes you wonder, do they just treat random strangers on the street like they're trash? I don't understand the rationale behind people using that phrase or misappropriating that phrase. It's really strange. And this is on the assumption that it applies to the first definition. Because if it does apply to the first definition of respect, then human beings, we failed. And we've completely ruined that statement, and it needs to be pointed out because it's actually appalling how people use it as an excuse to be malevolent. Now, if it does apply to the second definition of respect, we don't need it anymore. Stop using it. We just stop completely using it. We no longer need to use it. Humanity has progressed past the point of that phrase. It was a complete mistake. Personally, I don't really care how big this phrase is and how widely used it is. I don't even care if the person who made it is this great man who created the wheel. We should just stop using it because there is no reason or excuse to be unnecessarily malicious to people just because of this one phrase that's probably used for about centuries. I don't understand it. Actually, this is actually another note I should point out. People have this really weird aversion to change just because it's been done for many years, and so they refuse to change it even though the change is probably better than the old way, and it makes no sense to me. I understand the sensitivity of it, but we shouldn't be too attached to these things. Personally, people should just use this phrase properly because no one's asking to be treated like a celebrity or asking to gain the respect of people like it's GTA San Andreas, which is probably the thumbnail for this video. So that's it for today for RAOISFOTI, or ranting about opinions I see floating on the internet. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe if you think I've gained your respect. And just one more thing I need to ask you. Who are you again?